I've done a bit of work trying to relieve some of the stiff areas, and you can see I've now got it on a 3.5 inch brace. Let's give it a tentative pull. That's 30. It's looking. It's quite hard to see that really. I think a little stiff here, but there's a tiny bit of reflex there, and a little stiff there maybe. Should put it a little bit more to see. Oh, that feels quite brutal actually. Maybe whisker stiff here. And it's difficult tillering it because where you think it's stiff, you've got to look at the individual limbs and try and ease them off a bit. And it's quite hard to work on one limb without sort of ending up working on both. Yeah, it has 35, and that 35 at about 12.5. That would be £42 at a 15 inch draw. And so I had been thinking of going to about a 17 inch draw, so it's over stiff at the minute, even if I aim for 40. So I'll review that, maybe do a bit more work. Yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult to see what's going on, because I don't know if you can see that. You've got this limb is lower than this one, so it gives the impression, I don't know, hard to say. Do you try and view them as a pair or individually? I suppose I could put something across. I could sit an arrow across there and work it down. Slope it a bit. I don't know if it slopes like that, does it imply this limb's stiffer? Doesn't do any harm to mess around with ideas like this. That looks pretty good, that pair of limbs. But this pair, when you know one bow did have some reflex at one point, so it's a bit tricky. It's almost tempting to ping an arrow out of it. I have to watch it with this, because normally if you shoot it with this ring on, it overshoots because of the mass and smacks the limb. But because there's nothing in the middle, I could be naughty and just have a little ping with the arrow, couldn't I? I don't know if you can see that. I hope that shows up on video. Yeah, interesting. Oh, the other thing is it's absolute bugger to string, because you can't, as you try and slide the string loop down here, it's so fat, the string loop tightens up, so I'm going to have to make a string with bigger loops on. But now I've got that brace, I can probably work out what I need. Just a little bit shorter than that. I'll probably want about a 4 inch brace. I know it's a rule of thumb, I think it's about a 1/12 of the length of the bow. So a 6 foot bow, that'll give you a 6 inch brace. So 4 divided by 12, 2.8 inch. Oh, that's interesting, because the implication there is that at 3 inches I'm not far out. Yeah, I'd have thought maybe a whisker more, maybe 3.5 inch. I mean, all these, you know, rules like, oh, it's 1/12 of the length of the bow, it doesn't necessarily hold true, because things don't actually scale down correctly. It's looking interesting. I've actually seem to have a wider gap there than there. Well, that doesn't worry me, because that'll be That's the upper limb, that's where the arrow pass is going to be. So the more room for the arrow, the better. Yeah, it's quite a fun, interesting to see how it turns out, because if it shoots nicely, well, if it shoots better than you'd expect a bow of that poundage and length to shoot, then I might make a bigger version.